welcome to the deep dive. Get ready to explore with us today. We're diving into superhero cinema, which is, fascinating, sometimes kind of complex.
That's right.
And today, we're really zeroing in on the new Fantastic Four movie. And maybe surprisingly, its impact on this whole genre, which keeps changing.
It really does. And for this deep dive, we're drawing on some pretty interesting material. We've got excerpts from Fantastic Four, a cinematic triumph, sort of a first-hand take.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and we also have some sharp insights on the new Superman movie, too. So putting those together lets us get a pretty comprehensive look at what's making modern superhero films click right now.
Right, what actually resonates.
Exactly. We're digging into character portrayal, those subtle storytelling shifts that seem to be working.
Okay, because I have to admit, I had my own worries before seeing Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Like the whole neo-60s style would feel, I don't know, cheesy, dated.
Uh-huh.
And Pedro Pascal, as Mr. Fantastic, he's great, but embodying the smartest man in the world convincingly, I wasn't sure.
That's a big ask.
It is. And then the connection to the main MCU, how would that work? And, well, the really big one, literally, Galactus.
Ah.
Yeah. After that, let's be honest, catastrophic letdown in the older movie, I was just braced for the worst,
Understandable. But it seems those fears, yours and definitely those of our source writer, they just kind of belted away pretty fast.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the film seems to have hit a nerve in a good way, quite unexpectedly.
So that's our mission today, then, to unpack how these movies like Fantastic Four and Superman are dealing with what audiences expect now.
Exactly. And navigating that whole crowded superhero media landscape.
We want to pull out those key nuggets, right?
Yeah.
About how characters are being shown, the storytelling tricks that are maybe the secret sauce right now.
That's the plan, finding that secret sauce.
Okay, so let's dive into Fantastic Four. Our source writer mentions the opening being pretty amazing. A montage of their history.
Yes, packed with comic callbacks, apparently. Set a tone that was, nostalgic but also fresh. But the really juicy stuff is in the character takes.
Right, the breakdowns. What do they say? It's fantastic.
Pedro Pascal was described as, perfect. Just perfect. And the key thing was balancing being the smartest man in the world with being, totally oblivious, personally.
Right.
Which isn't just funny, right? It says something about character now. Audiences seem to like heroes with relatable flaws. These unexpected contrasts makes them feel more human, less like statues.
Yeah, humanizing brilliance, I like that. What about Ben Grimm, the Thing?
Visually perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly how the writer imagined him on screen.
So getting that look right is still super important for these icons.
Oh, absolutely. When fans have that strong mental picture, nailing the visual is like half the battle, isn't it?
Totally. And Susan Storm, Invisible Woman.
She apparently really shines, which is great because, she often gets pushed to the side in other versions.
True.
But here, she steps up, more agency, more depth. It feels like a successful elevation of her character.
Okay, good. But then, Johnny Storm. Human Torch. Sounds like a more mixed reaction there.
A bit, yeah. The source enjoyed him, but noted he didn't feel like my Johnny Storm.
Huh. What does that mean?
Well, they pointed to Chris Evans in the 2000s movies, how he nailed that immature, brash, kind of annoying, but ultimately good-hearted hothead vibe.
Right, I remember that.
This new Johnny, while apparently cool and all, seemed too mature and pretty intelligent, which, maybe surprisingly, didn't quite land right for this fan.
Interesting. So it's not just preference, is it? It's about those deep-seated fan expectations.
Exactly. How ingrained those character archetypes are. Even adding maturity, which you'd think is good, can clash if it changes the core feeling people have for the character. It's a really fine line for adaptations.
Yeah, innovation versus legacy. How much can you change them?
Precisely. And then on the Silver Surfer, the take was more, fine. Just fine.
Okay.
Initially surprised by a female surfer, but then remembered the comic origins for that possibility and felt it worked, especially since this film is, quote, clearly not the main Marvel Cinematic Universe.
So being slightly outside the main MCU continuity gave them more freedom.
Seems like it. More room to play creatively without, upsetting the whole interconnected apple cart.
Okay, so we have these character reactions, some hits, some misses, some just fine. Stepping back, what did that mean for the movie overall? And the rating?
Well, despite those nuances with Johnny and the Surfer, the movie got a solid 8.5 out of 10. Pretty good.
That's very respectable.
But here's the kicker, as you said earlier. Even with that high praise, the writer noted it didn't feel much like a superhero movie, and they think that was deliberate, intentional.
Huh. Why?
Well, this is where we see a big strategic shift maybe happening. The source material directly says, the popular opinion is that society is getting burned out on superhero media.
You hear that a lot, superhero fatigue.
Right. All the movies, the shows, the games, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So the choice in Fantastic Four to let the superhero element take a backseat is called a smart decision.
Even though they wanted more action.
Yeah, even though the source admitted they would like at least one more big fight scene, it really points to studios maybe testing the waters, trying a counter-narrative to that fatigue.
That's a fascinating strategy.
Yeah.
But does the source mention any downsides? Like, if you pull back too much on the superhero stuff, do you risk losing that core audience? It feels like a tightrope walk.
It definitely suggests a careful balance, yeah. That comment about wanting one more fight scene shows there's still an expectation for some of that traditional action, even if the overall strategy is appreciated.
Right.
And that idea of strategic shifts, well, it isn't just Fantastic Four, is it? Our deep dive also touched on the new Superman movie, and the comparison, or maybe the contrast, is really interesting.
Okay, Superman. How does he fit in?
Well, our source saw the new one recently and had some really insightful thoughts, especially because they went in thinking Superman as a character just doesn't work anymore, particularly on film.
Yeah, that's a common critique, the godlike power thing.
Exactly. How do you create stakes? Why do punches hurt him sometimes and not others? Why doesn't he just use ice breath or laser eyes all the time if he can supposedly, move solar systems in the comics? It's a classic problem.
It really is. A hurdle lots of versions have stumbled over.
Yeah.
So how did James Gunn handle it this time, according to the source? What made it work?
Well, despite all those long-standing issues, the source felt Gunn did a great job with the character. He wasn't quite the Superman that we have all come to know from recent movies.
Okay.
But the film made him feel like the original, faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive Superman.
Channeling that classic vibe.
Exactly. The key seems to be leaning into those fundamental, iconic parts of his power and, well, his heroism. Gunn seems to have sidestepped that godlike but flawed trap by emphasizing his core nature, rather than getting bogged down in the inconsistencies or limitations.
So focusing on the essence, not the power scaling debates.
Pretty much. A subtle shift, maybe, but powerful. It seems to have really re-energized the character for this viewer.
Okay, so let's recap this deep dive a bit. For Fantastic Four, we saw really successful takes on Mr. Fantastic, The Thing, Susan humanizing brilliance, visual fidelity, elevating supporting roles.
Right.
But also nuanced reactions to Johnny Storm and Silver Surfer, showing that tricky balance between changing things up and what fans expect.
With that fidelity issue, yeah.
And critically, that strategic choice to dial back the overt superhero stuff, seen as smart given the whole burnout conversation.
And then we connected that to Superman, a character often seen as tough for modern takes, but reimagined by James Gunn to evoke that original power, that core heroism.
He managed to avoid the usual pitfalls around his strength by focusing on his iconic essence.
Seems that way, yes. Focusing on what makes him fundamentally Superman.
It really is a fascinating moment for superhero movies. So thinking about all this, here's something for you, our listener, to maybe chew on. Given these shifts, we've talked about the successful tweaks in Fantastic Four, Gunn's approach to Superman, what does it really mean for a superhero adaptation to be successful today, right now? Especially when audiences seem to want stories that go beyond just, big power displays and massive fight scenes. What does success look like now?
That's a great question to end on.
Something to think about. Until next time.